let's get right into this review for The Monkey. Alright, so The Monkey is a horror film directed by Osgood Perkins, and I love this previous work on Longlegs, which came out last year. So that notion alone was enough to get me pretty hyped up for this film. Also, I was kind of excited to see Theo James again on the big screen, as the last time I recall seeing him act was probably for the Divergent series, which was a long time ago. Anyways, how is the story for The Monkey? I'm not gonna beat around the bush. I honestly wasn't a fan of the narrative package that we get here, and found it to be a pretty disappointing time by the end of my screening. I think the general premise and the setup for The Monkey was interesting enough at the early phases of Act 1. I sort of dug the dark humor in the beginning that was accompanied by some horrific death sequences you'll be witnessing all throughout the film, but after a while, the full throttle use of comedy just became too over the top for me. I didn't find any of the jokes past the first half of the film to land effectively, or at all. Which brings me to my next point, that this film doesn't lean into the horror aspects as much as I wanted it to, nor does it ever make an effort to take the story more seriously in any of the major pivotal moments. And because the use of a serious tone was absent for the film, I found the overall effectiveness for the telling of the story and the themes present here to come off pretty weak by the time credits rolled. It's undoubtedly a C-tier narrative that doesn't seem to have a real sense of purpose, other than imbuing itself completely with over-the-top, nonsensical chaos. And look, I don't think going full throttle with the absurd is inherently a bad choice, but I think there's a delicate balance you still need to find within the story when choosing to imbue the absurd in its entirety. A great example of a past film that I believe gets this fusion of horror and comedy right was Ready or Not. I think for a horror film to live in the realm of the absurd, it still needs to find some sort of balance between the serious storytelling tempo and the chaos. Unfortunately, The Monkey just sticks only with the absurd elements in the C-tier narrative that I feel majority of the audience members who view this film will eventually disconnect with the story at one point or another before the conclusion. A lot of the aspects present in this narrative, including the story elements, the side characters, and the core themes, come off incredibly bare bones. I just couldn't find myself to care when some people died in the story because there was no real reason for me to care. And that's pretty much the essence of this film. It's sort of hard to find purpose in any of the storytelling from beginning to end. Anyways, I know I bashed this movie pretty hard, but I still wanted to take the time to go over some of the positives. I really dug the monkey design and found there to be a sense of dread whenever it popped up on screen, so props to the prop designer. That was one intense monkey. I also found it refreshing to see Theo James again, and I thought he did a great job in portraying his character in the film as the main lead. The rest of the cast seemed to have understood the over-the-top performances they needed to showcase, so props to all of them too. The set locations paired well with the story being told, and the over-the-top visual representation of the gore was enough to make me wince here and there, so props to the visual effects team as well. But with all things considered, my final score for The Monkey ends up being a 5 out of 10. I definitely think there's a lot of people out there who'd still enjoy this film for what it is. But there's also going to be plenty of people like me who believe the story gets lost in the sauce. This is a one watch and done type of film for me. Anyways, thanks for checking this review out. There will be more coming soon, and I appreciate you all for tuning in up until this point. Hit that like button and subscribe if you haven't done so already, and I shall see you again on the next upload. Stay safe out there, and until next time, peace.